Let's go to Santa Barbara, California, and learn about dog culture. So here we are on the maps. Here's Santa Barbara. So what do we know about Santa Barbara? So this is a place with, let me show you, let's do some searching here. Check it out. Dog parks. So they got a ton of dog parks in Santa Barbara. How about dog spa? A place to go take your dog and get him all primped up. Oh yeah, they got a lot of these places. What about dog grooming? Oh yeah, they have a ton of it. Look at all these places, guys. Pretty much all within walking distance if you're real healthy, or driving distance, but they're everywhere. All kinds of, look at them, groovy grooms. Got the canine camp, fancy paws. So this is definitely a dog-friendly city. It's actually one of the most dog-friendly cities that you can find, full of all types of services for dogs. In Santa Barbara, you can go to all types of dog-friendly accommodations, restaurants, activities, off-leash beaches, parks, and even wine tasting rooms to bring your pup or doggo. So yeah, this is a mecca for spoiled dogs. So this is probably one of the best places to raise a family too, right? Because dogs are the ultimate family accessory, man's best friend, right? Well, we're going to learn about that. We're going to learn about Santa Barbara and something called family estrangement that is on the rise. And this all goes right along with the main thesis that dog culture just goes right along with sacrificing your fellow humans and putting your fellow humans at a low priority. So in Santa Barbara, one of the things that they spend a lot of time on is cliff rescues for dogs. Now, of course, that's because they have a lot of cliffs, but a lot of other places have cliffs too. And Santa Barbara is one of the top places for dogs to be rescued off cliffs. And this costs about $3,000 an hour or more, depending on how many dogs and if they have to use a helicopter or whatever. This usually ends up being a huge media festival where they showcase how great the firefighters are because they saved one little dog, which is very curious because where the hell are the owners? Like, why don't the owners ever get to be, at least publicly humiliated a little bit? Something else that Santa Barbara is really good at, it's allowing their kids to go missing or run away. So let's just start off with 2011, 958 reports of missing children. Okay, so that doesn't seem like as crazy as some people might think, right? But let's look a few years in the future. So in California, 66,705 kids went missing, and 200 of them have been found in the national operation called We Will Find You Too. So 200 out of 66,705. So how many do you think of those Santa Barbara kids that went missing got found? Just given California's track record of only finding 200 out of 66,000. Yeah. So all this effort to save dogs from cliffs, all this effort to spoil your dogs, and these kids are running away. They say runaways are a big part of it, but there's also abductions. Okay, and California has a lot of problems with child trafficking and other stuff like that. So how do dogs and dog culture contribute to all of this? I mean, already we have a big problem here. We are told that dogs are so great. They're all about protecting, right? Oh, get a dog to protect you and alert you. They can sense evil. They can sense things. Yet children are abducted by evil people. Children are treated in an evil type fashion by other humans, and that causes them to run away or connect with other people that don't have their best interest in mind. So how can this dog-loving, dog-worshipping city be like this? So one of the main reasons that kids run away from home is feeling ignored in the family it can contribute to a child's decision to run away. So if you're living in a family that is prioritizing spoiling a dog, how can you feel important? Put your stuff away, clean up after the dog, get this done because we got to go run the dog to the vet, run the dog to the spa, run the dog to the dog park, right? Well, we can't buy this for you because we got to buy this stuff for the dog. And this gives you feelings of isolation and a lack of support. Running away is a way to escape the emotional pain or to seek attention and validation elsewhere. How can kids get validation when most of the adults are running around obsessed about worshiping dogs? Yeah. I mean, look at any other city that has this over the top dog worship, and you also see a high proportion of runaway kids. I mean, it does not make sense at all for people to say that dogs are such a great thing, dogs are helping with depression or anything, because they're not. Dogs are always present when all of this nasty stuff is happening. Dogs are always there, getting rescued from cliffs, getting primped and shampooed, while our kids are running away and feeling depressed. Here is an article about runaway kids. Anger, anxiety, depression, or other mental health issues. Kids that have those are more prone to running away as a coping mechanism. So how is the presence of dogs? I believe in those California cities, Santa Barbara, San Francisco, and other ones, there's more dogs in the households than kids. So more adults are quote unquote raising dogs than they are raising kids. They're not raising future taxpayers, they're raising spoiled dogs. So how can you feel supported? How can you have anywhere to go when everybody owns dogs? If it's like if let's say your parents are making you do certain stuff at home because you have a dog, and the dog pulls you and you fall down, and you go talk to your teacher or your police officer or your local counselor, and you tell them, like, look, man, my mom makes me stay in my room because the boyfriend's dog is kind of growling. Those people are going to be dog worshippers too. They're going to have to run away. They're going to have to leave Santa Barbara and go somewhere else in the nation to get away from these ridiculous dog worshippers that pretty much don't like children. They want dogs and they don't really care about kids. By and large, whether they put pictures up on Facebook saying that they love their children, as soon as the camera goes off, they're back to petting their dog and buying stuff for their dog. In Santa Barbara, California, just like every other city, they have stuff in place for missing dogs. The animal shelters, the county services has a new mapping system to help reunite lost dogs with their owners. Sheesh. If dogs are a man's best friend, why are they freaking running off? What are they doing? I know right now is about the time that the dog owners will be like, well, it's because the owners are bad, and that must be why the kids ran away. No. No. That's not how this works, guys. See, when the kids run away, so many of those are not reported, and so many of those just go, they just go under the radar. And a year later, an organization will rescue 200 out of 66,000, and then they'll think they're heroes. But every time one of these dogs get lost, we deploy helicopters, firefighters, trucks, 911 dispatchers, police officers, 3 or 4 news reporters, 5 different Facebook pages. Did you see a dog? So no, the runaway dogs is not the same type of correlation as the runaway kids, because the effort that we put when a dog runs away versus when a kid goes missing, it's a totally different type of effort. So in the other article that I was reading from for you guys, there's something they mention at length, but it's called family estrangement. And this is happening all over our country. It's basically where people just don't care about their fellow people. But what are they replacing people with? Freeloading, non-tax paying, stupid dogs that don't give anything back to society. And here's what family estrangement is. It's the cessation or reduction of a previously existing relationship between family members, often to the extent that there's little to no communication for a prolonged period. This used to be like people that got into a divorce or had a huge family fight, but nowadays it's like you have family estrangement right there in your house because people are more interested in messing around and playing with the dog than they are in talking to their kid that lives one room over or one town over, you know. And so family estrangement is very much driven by dog culture, because what replaces these family relationships that we can get so much benefit from? It's a dog. And before we leave Santa Barbara, I got to show you guys one more thing. I've mentioned this before, but property taxes pay for so many services that dogs receive. And a dog is never going to grow up and get a job like those missing kids would. You know, those missing kids in Santa Barbara, if they stayed there, you know, even the lowest job that they might have there is at least going to support the community and help pay for things like those cliff rescues and everything else. But Santa Barbara has a relatively high property taxes compared to many other areas, with an effective tax rate of 1.0% to 1.3, and is slightly above the national median. So, you know, how do they pay for cliff rescues? How do they pay for running around looking for lost dogs? How do they pay for calls to deal with dogs? That's property taxes. Okay, so again, this trend of high property taxes needed to pay for dogs, less and less humans that are going to be future taxpayers because of dogs, and children running away because we live in this freaking dog worshipping place right here in Santa Barbara. Big dog worshipping place, in a place where many kids are just going missing or disappearing or running away. And what are the people replacing them with? Nasty dogs. Yep. So that's been our trip to Santa Barbara, where we can prove a lot of the theses that the dog culture reviewers have. See you guys later.